Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Five, the Five Insider. Myself, Joel Bell, with the privilege to speak to our favorite, the one and only, Mr. David Ornstein. How you doing?
Good, Joel. It's been a while, hasn't it? So it's nice to be
It's been
back.
a minute. It's been a minute. You're going to be at a few big awards, right? Definitely, you're at the Football Writers Association Award this evening, right? Are
Yeah,
you
I
going to
think I'll
be?
see you there.
Are you going to be receiving any more awards or anything like that? No.
There's no more to give out. They're all behind me. No, this is a chance for the Football Writers Association to
Lovely.
honour Phil Foden,
Mhm.
who has won this year. And so there'll be men's award winner, women's award winner. Last
Mhm.
year, I think it was Erling Haaland and Sam Kerr. So it should be
Mhm.
a brilliant evening. And it's award season now, isn't it? You're going to get PFA
Exactly.
Player of the Year.
Mhm.
You're going to get Premier League champions, FA Cup winners, Champions League winners, and so on. So
Mhm.
yeah, these are the days and the weeks where it's all decided.
Yeah, and shout out to Bunny Shaw as well, who's winning
Yeah, Bunny Shaw's got
the women's,
the women's
the
award,
women's one as
deservedly
well.
so.
Yeah. So, David, we just want to get an update. Really, there's been a lot going on. Obviously, United they won yesterday, beating Newcastle 3-2, and you can see that Eric Ten Hag. I think he was received pretty well at the end after his speech. Is it fair to say that he'll be staying at United this summer?
I don't think we know yet. And I don't think Ineos know, who of course have sporting control at Manchester United. There's no final decision on what they would like to do. And also, I don't think Eric Ten Hag knows either, because he'll have to consider his future because it's new bosses above him following the investment by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's got a year left on his contract with an option to extend. All the noises from him are that he wants to stay on and continue this job. But of course, he'll have to have some conversations with them. And then, of course, there's the finances involved in a managerial change. Manchester United are not in the best position in terms of their PSR outlook. And so they've got to be very careful with what they decide to do on this, on player trading, and so on. If they're to qualify for Europe, that would be a significant boost for them from a football and financial perspective. In a bizarre way, it would be a good footballing achievement, but it would give Manchester United more money if they were to make a change in manager to pay off Eric Ten Hag and his staff. If he was not to qualify, it would be a less good sporting achievement, but it would deprive Manchester United of the European money to be able to pay off him and his staff as easily. So it's a bit of a bizarre situation there. And I do think the PSR element will come into the thinking. And then finally, there's the dilemma if they're to make a change, who they might bring in as his replacement. And I do think they will look at it separately. Do they want Eric Ten Hag to continue or not? And who are the potential replacements?
Okay, so again, with replacements, if they were to make a change, David, what direction would they go towards? Who would they be looking
Well,
at?
I think the if is really important, and we need to show maximum respect to Eric Ten Hag because he's still in position, and it's never ideal or particularly comfortable when you're speaking about who might be filling somebody's shoes. But given the scenario is that they could make a change, and the situation is similar at a number of other clubs, and we've heard so much debate around potential options for United, I guess it's worth touching upon it. Everybody seems to have marked out the likes of Gareth Southgate, Graham Potter, Thomas Tuchel as being the top options. As far as I know, if they were to make a change now, those three wouldn't necessarily be at the top of the Manchester United wish list for various reasons. Gareth Southgate is working with England at the Euros, and so talks can't take place, certainly not meaningful ones. And Southgate has been very clear on that he's focusing only on England. And despite Ineos having a good relationship with him, they know him well, they respect him. We don't know for certain that he would be the one that they would go for, or that he would go for them. And also, he'll be tied up for quite some time, and that is not ideal. Graham Potter they know him as well. I'm sure they admire him and his work. I'm not sure how the Chelsea tenure, fair or unfair, will impact on the thinking of other clubs, such as Manchester United. Then somebody like Tuchel appears in the mind of many Manchester United fans to be a really top option because he's due to leave Bayern Munich, although there's some conjecture over whether he and they might perform a U-turn and actually recouple. But, the soundings you get from around Manchester United are a big name, high profile, like Thomas Tuchel at this moment in their journey might not be what they're looking for, even though, I'm full of admiration for Tuchel and what he's done and the quality and caliber of manager he is. So if we're right in hearing that those three, for example, aren't necessarily at the top of the list, you ask yourselves who is. And it might be because Manchester United, Ineos at this moment would want somebody who is right to coach this group of players right now at a Manchester United that is distressed. And perhaps in 2 or 3 years' time, if things don't go so well or things do go well, you then make a change and upgrade to somebody who's a proven trophy-winning manager with Champions League pedigree, etc. And it was interesting in the Telegraph this week that Mike McGrath reported that Thomas Frank is among those who is very highly thought of. And he's done a good job at Brentford and is a very popular coach within the game. He is known to Ineos and Sir Dave Brailsford. And so that was quite an interesting one that came to the fore. There are other names who have been linked, like Kieran McKenna has done so well at Ipswich and was formerly an assistant at Manchester United. You immediately assume that he would want to continue with Ipswich, having led them to the Premier League. But sometimes in these situations, you just don't know. And if some of these opportunities he's been linked with Brighton and Crystal Palace and West Ham as well are right for a manager at that moment in time. Often you see them strike while the iron's hot as they look to make the step up towards the level where they want to get to immediately.
David, we saw yesterday Bruno Fernandes. He seemed like he was, first of all, he had a good game. You can see the difference when he's in the team and when he's out of the team. He had some words for the fans, basically saying that he's the type of player that wants to be at the club as long as they want him. Eric Ten Hag came at the end, dragged him away. It was nice, friendly, loads of hugs. You reported on Bruno Fernandes this week so far, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation because there have been a number of reports suggesting that he might be on his way out of Old Trafford or of serious interest to clubs in, say, the Saudi Pro League. And I think there was a report on Bayern Munich. And as always, Joe, I've got massive respect for other journalists who get their information and report accordingly. And that's fair enough. You can only go on your information and what you're told. And I revealed a couple of days ago that Bruno Fernandes actually held a long meeting at Carrington with his representatives and Manchester United's football leadership team. So that included Sir Dave Brailsford, Director of Sport at Ineos, Jason Wilcox, Man United's technical director, and Matt Hargreaves, Man United's director of negotiations. And basically, they all wanted clarity on what's going to happen because you remember Bruno Fernandes gave an interview to DAZN Portugal in which he suggested that he would have to consider leaving the Premier League, but the decision won't be taken until after Euro 2024. So it was an opportunity to sit down. He's the captain of Manchester United. He's arguably their best player. And yeah, he might divide opinion. But if you look at the statistics and what he's done since he joined in, January 2020, it's been pretty phenomenal. And you hear good stories about his leadership qualities, whatever you might think about some of his on-field behaviour. There's been a lot of chat around that. But it appears to be very well respected. And my information is that Manchester United absolutely want him to stay, and that he also wants to stay, and that they made that clear to each other in this meeting, which, went on for some hours. But his desire to stay is conditional. It's subject to Manchester United meeting his expectations, to showing him a vision that he thinks is going to be delivered some evidence that they are going to go where they say they want to go. And that's not an easy thing. And I guess that leaves the door slightly ajar, because if they don't satisfy his desires, and or an offer comes in of pretty significant magnitude that Manchester United would listen to, then perhaps a departure is not completely out of the question. But I think that's incredibly unlikely. I think it's not expected at all. The firm anticipation coming out of that meeting is that Bruno Fernandes will be staying at Manchester United, and that both parties are on the same page.
David, I want to say thank you very much for your time. It's been good to have you. I know we haven't been on as much, but there will be more of the Five Insider really soon. Go get scrubbed up. Not that you really need to, because you already look good and clean. But I know that you're going to be enjoying these the up and coming award show. And yeah, I look forward to having you back on Five really soon.
My pleasure.
Joel Bayer signing out. David Ornstein. Peace.